Welcome to a special presentation with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we'll be joined by Wolf Finance as well as members from the Koala Wallet and Kadena teams. This conversation was recorded on June 6, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to follow and subscribe to our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy.
All right, I am going to get us rolling into this next space right now. We do have most of the speakers up here for it. I had to drop a couple of other speakers just to make room. So if you did get dropped from that last space towards the end, no worries. We were just making some room for the next set of speakers. We are going to be doing our third space with the Kadena team, which I'm super excited for. Kadena is one of the most scalable blockchains out there. There is a ton going on behind it. And today's a big day for crypto as well, with what's been going on with Coinbase, SEC, a number of other pieces. So I think there's a lot to talk about here. I'm just bringing up the team real quick. I think that we do have most of them on stage. Kobe, so we got you. I'll call on you first here just to say hi as we're getting everybody up. You feeling ready to get going?
Hey folks, how's everyone doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, we got you loud and clear.
All right, I'm actually calling from Israel. It's my last day here. I've been meeting with a bunch of investors around the Web3 space and people that are really excited. So, I've been concentrating in business development and crypto for a while, and I'm glad to be with you here today to talk about Kadena, Eucalyptus Labs, Koala Wallet, and much more.
Okay, perfect. So just to give a little bit of an initial outline here, we're going to be talking about really what got people involved with Kadena, how they got into crypto in general, and then their roles at Kadena. We're talking specifically with a lot of the leaders here, really that biz dev team. And I know we're going to have more of them coming up throughout. If you're someone that is supposed to be on stage and I don't have you up on stage yet, it's partially probably because I can't see you. It does like to do that a lot. So what I recommend is just dropping me a DM and just letting me know, hey, I'm in the space, I'm requesting, I'm on a cell phone, and I'm ready to get going. That way I do know that you are here. And thank you to all my other speakers like Evil and Shelby and Mary Beth, who've already popped on stage as well for this awesome crypto talk. Let's get right into it. We can start out perhaps with Joel or Rhino, whichever one of you wants to take the mic first, and share a little bit about what got you. First off, if you want to give an overview of, brief intro, what you do at Kadena, and then a little bit about what got you into crypto. We could talk some more about, the current focus in business dev. And Joel or Rhino, whichever one of you wants to take that first.
Yeah, hey, I can kick off if you like. Firstly, GM, happy Tuesday, whether it's a morning or afternoon. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Love the question, love the community, love the people on this show. So thank you again for hosting this. I think this is my second one that I'm on with you guys. How did I get into crypto? So I'll keep it brief, but I have a slightly funny story behind this. I remember being introduced to this concept of crypto and Bitcoin back in 2013, 2014, and thinking that my friend that shared that with me was absolutely crazy, had no idea the hows or whys. If only we could turn back time, that would be amazing because we'd be having a very different conversation right now. But I've been in the tech space for probably the last 15, 20 years in all things data center, etc., and have always had a strong interest in technology, in trends, in how we can build technology for the future, how we can build communities, and of course, love this whole concept of how we've gone from Web 2 to Web 3 and beyond. I ended up getting heavily involved in crypto back in 2017. I think probably a lot of people in this space got in around the same time. Took a different approach in that I wanted to understand the technology behind it. So I took a really big interest in reading some white papers and understanding what the hows and whys and the mechanics of blockchain, and then ended up working full-time in Web3 in early 2021, heading up biz dev partnerships go-to-market for an L2, building out some wonderful partnerships in that ecosystem. It was actually in the ETH ecosystem, and then got involved in a number of other projects, including infrastructure providers, and discovered Kadena a short while ago, probably about a year ago, but met the team earlier in the year, loved what they were doing, loved what they were building, and was a no-brainer that I wanted to be a part of the team and the journey and whatnot. And so just to answer the question around my role, so I head up partnerships as part of the Biz Dev team. So that gets me heavily involved in all partnerships as well as ecosystem, working closely with our devs, our partners, and our internal team. Long response to a short question.
No, that was perfect, Ryan. I appreciate all the depth to it. Yeah. I know we are looking for a couple others to join up on the space as well, just waiting for them to come in here. Before I go over to you, Joel, and I'm coming to you, I just wanted to announce to everyone that we are running another giveaway. We're doing a Koala Cool t-shirt and 50 KDA. These can be found in the top of the space. I actually just retweeted it as well. I want to make this as easy for people to participate in as possible because I know people love their Kadena swag as well as free KDA. So if you go to the top of the space, you'll just easily be able to see that up there, or you can just go right to my timeline, click on there, and you'll see it there. So we're making it super, super simple for everybody today. I'm going to turn it over to you, Joel.
Amazing. Thanks, Wolf. Good to connect again. I think we met last year in Miami, and it's nice to speaking publicly with you. I wish I went before Ryan because my story of how I got into crypto is a lot more basic. Basically just a degen that was curious in 2016. I bought my first Bitcoin. I watched it crash and I haven't looked back since. I discovered Kadena in 2021 and it quickly became my favorite story, I would say. And dove into it, quickly made up a large portion of my portfolio. And then I saw they were hiring and I came from a career in advertising technology, business, corp dev, consulting, on my own consulting firm, but I wanted to get my foot in the door in the Web3 space. And they were the first company I applied to, which was my top choice. And I was lucky to get a job, which has been awesome, honestly. I quickly learned that I knew nothing about crypto once I was actually working in the space. So in many ways, I still feel like I'm in sponge mode and learning from countless people smarter than myself. My current role is I help manage the business development team, most typically focused on grants and partnerships, and dip my toes in some special projects as well.
Perfect. Appreciate the intro and rundown there from yourself. All right. I see we got a couple other faces up on stage. Amir, you want to pop in with some thoughts here, introduction, and how you got into Kadena as well as crypto and business dev?
Sure. Hey, thanks for having me. I've been tracking crypto since early on. I'm one of those lucky people who lost a Bitcoin wallet from mining early on. So I'm always happy about that. I thought about paying fees to have somebody search the dumpsters, but it's probably too long now. But really just, for me getting into blockchain crypto, it was a continuation with a finance background. Really just enjoying the journey and how Kadena specifically, it kind of started, a friend of mine was nudging me to get into Kadena mining. And so that's essentially my initial entry point. And I really just enjoy writing pack code, which is the native smart contract language for Kadena. It just seems to be a lot more friendly than some of the other chains. And so that's kind of what got me and kept me in here and just continuing to engage with the community and just enjoying that piece of it.
Perfect. Thank you, Amir. And I see we got Curtis up here too, if you want to pop in here.
Yeah, thanks. I'm with Swarms, and I started out really being heavily involved in the Ethereum community. Started off mining lots of different things. And, of course, during the last bull run, the fees just went insane on Ethereum. And I was looking for something I think would be more long-term scalable and adoptable to the masses. And I found Kadena. And, I've got a commercial, farm. And now I'm trying to grow the community from the inside out.
That's good to hear. Appreciate everything you are doing. Kobe.
Yes. I'd love to jump in here and actually mention a few things. So first off, folks, you are really lucky if you're tuning into this AMA. You have Ryan and Joel, two of the head folks at Kadena, who have been revitalizing and really pumping this ecosystem up with partnerships that are coming and with so much team expansion and more that you're going to hear about from them. And you also get to hear from the builder side of folks like Curator and Amir, who I've been lucky to work with, who are really building applications and proving to people that crypto is more than just an exchange or DeFi. It's something that has potential to really disrupt. And that's why I'm really lucky that I'm one of those builders who's chosen to work on Kadena and build with Kadena and partner with them for so many reasons. You've heard these people and what we're building or what we're doing around. But I think it's also time to let you know about why we chose and why we're working on Kadena. Kadena is this incredible proof of work consensus protocol that's been around since about 2016-17, at least in development, when some really smart individuals got together and made some crazy epic technology come to life. So it's great that you get to hear from the Kadena team, and they can sell you on what they've been doing and the creators on what they've been doing as well. But it's all about this synergy of how we come together and create really valuable applications together on the blockchain. So my role at Eucalyptus Labs is wallet development. So far, we've created a really amazing single asset developer wallet called Koala Wallet, which you're going to hear more about. And again, we get to work with so many of the partners on Kadena who have made the same choice we have of really attacking problems and finding solutions using Kadena's blockchain, using their native language you're going to hear about. So stay tuned, because again, you have some really great minds here who are going to tell you all about Kadena and what we're doing different.
Awesome rundown there from yourself, Kobe. Yeah, let me flip a question here first to Joel, in fact. Walk us through right now with Kadena, what is the major focus area in business development?
Yeah, thanks. It's a good question. Dumbing it down, smart wallets, I think you're seeing this conversation move industry-wide, is smart contract wallet implementation. The other, two big areas for us is focusing on our DeFi landscape and really bringing that to market, as well as the layer 2 and ZK. Our engineer team is hard at work. We hope to have some exciting progress to announce later this year in that field. And next to that is our NFT space. Marmalade, if you're not familiar, is our NFT standard. And we should be making an announcement on Marmalade V2 in a short time soon. So those are kind of the high level key areas we're focused on.
Okay, perfect. Ryan, if you want to add anything to that, that'd be awesome. But also, can you walk us through how Kadena's scalable blockchain technology represents a lot of opportunity for both small and large businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll add a little more to the focus areas as well. Joel shared about smart wallets, and I got to tell you, not just what Kobe and team are building is absolutely fantastic and certainly groundbreaking and very focused on the user experience. What also comes about this is all the cool components from the Web3 ecosystem that plug into a wallet. That is very important for us. At the end of the day, our focus is on making sure that users have a seamless and enjoyable experience, both onboarding into crypto or onboarding into the blockchain, using the blockchain, exiting from the blockchain, but also making this a really simple to use platform, which comes down to how the blockchain itself, so how Kadena or Chainweb operates itself, and how the wallet operates. And some of the features that we're actually looking at, because I think this is quite an interesting conversation. We actually did a pretty cool deep dive internally yesterday, but some of the really cool features that we're focusing on are not just a wallet that allows you to simply trade, send a token, receive a token, send an NFT, receive an NFT, but some of the other pieces behind it, like obfuscating seed phrases, the ability to directly interact with smart contracts. So instead of having to exit from the wallet to some app and then do some funky configurations to actually engage with the blockchain, we're looking at a way to actually incorporate that into the wallet itself. things like account abstraction. So if you've heard of DIDs or decentralized IDs, not having to worry about wallet addresses or blockchain addresses and the like. And what becomes very important about this is how we as Kadena actually engage our ecosystem. We don't take a develop first approach. We do certainly take a developer first approach, which is the developers are key to our ecosystem. They're key to the success of Kadena. They're key to the partnerships within Kadena. But we do lean on our partners and on the developers to actually create these amazing technologies and these amazing platforms that make it easy for people to use and leverage and enjoy the blockchain itself. I think, I don't know if I answered both your questions. I think you asked as well about how we're providing particular opportunities for businesses. I think you said small, large, etc. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so if you think of the history of, or if you know the history of Kadena and where we came from, Kadena itself was born out of the founders that actually created JP Morgan's original private blockchain. We started off, Kadena itself started off building out a private blockchain, and which was quite focused on enterprise adoption, and then quickly transformed into what we see today, which is Chainweb, which is our public blockchain. And what's really critical in the way that it's been developed is, and I think I actually shared this on the last Twitter space that we did, but I'll share it again, which is Kadena is arguably one of the only, if not the only, layer one proof of work blockchains that can solve the trilemma, the blockchain trilemma of security, being highly secure, being fully decentralized, and providing the throughput and scalability required for dApps to build on top of and for users to actually use. But just as importantly, I can't remember who it was. It may have been Amir or somebody else who spoke about this prior. Just as importantly, it has to be able to provide the usability for the dApps and for the users that enhances a user experience. So when talking about what happened with Ethereum as an L1 and the excessive gas fees, and which adds complexity and cost to any type of transaction and whatnot, Kadena has actually solved that even as a layer one. This is before we even talk about what we're going to be doing with layer twos and ZK and whatnot. Now we just run a simple concept of gas stations which allow users to transact on the blockchain itself without any gas fees. So we obfuscate any kind of gas fees or gas transactions from the users and allow them to transact in a real seamless manner on Chainweb itself. And why this is important is that helps people that are building dApps, whether you're a small startup of 2 men and a dog, as we like to say, or whether you're a large Fortune 500 or Fortune 100 enterprise organization. The features and benefits of Chainweb, the features and benefits of Kadena, and the features and benefits of the Kadena ecosystem translate across the board. So all the features from performance to security to cost to scalability.
You know, I'd love to jump in if I can, just to mention one quick thing. What you're hearing about is really the culmination of a different approach to blockchain, which is why I made the jump to really focus our company on working with Kadena. They come from really established institutions where they know the problems that large companies face, and they knew the problems that consumers would face, or as you said, I think 2 guys and a dog. I'm going to hand it off to Koala Wallet in a moment, but our core mission, again, is really enabling all these different technologies, which sound intimidating at first, which might be confusing to many people, but what they enable is so big and important to all of us, both at Kadena and the parties and people working around them. So I'd love to mention Koala Wallet and introduce Chris. Maybe Chris, you can just give a minute overview of what we're doing at Koala and why everyone should have it on their device and follow our updates very closely.
For sure. So Koala Wallet is something that we've been working very hard at Eucalyptus Labs. We're trying to make it the all-in-one passport for everything that you need for Kadena. And we've also stepped it up a kind of game further and going back to kind of what Rhino was touching on of doing, making sure that the people have the tools to be able to access all the dApps and all the infrastructure very simply. And that is one of the things that we did by working directly with the Wallet Connect team to get the new version 2 of Wallet Connect up to speed with Kadena to make sure that it's implemented correctly so that all the dApps and stuff, because if anyone's used crypto and used wallets in the past, we all know that Wallet Connect is one of the set standards for making things easy and making interoperability across between wallets and dApps a main thing. And that's been one of our main focuses with Koala Wallet, is making sure that the users have the tools that they need to be able to access everything that they need in the Kadena ecosystem. And we're slowly also working towards this whole smart wallet. We're putting the first thing that you have to do, though, when you're coming up with smart wallets is build the infrastructure underneath of it to make sure that it is also easy, but also keeps the security that you need, which is one of the most important things here at Koala Wallet, is ensuring that our wallet and our code and everything is 100% secure for our users, so we don't have things happening like we've seen with some other unmentionable wallets in the past week or so. So, we want to make sure that, as we move forward and as we build these tools for people in the Kadena ecosystem, that we're doing it in an easy to use fashion, because as I always say, the way that we're going to move forward in blockchain is by making things as turnkey simple as possible for users. And if that involves things like moving towards smart wallets, obfuscating the whole phrase kind of process into something that is a little bit more user friendly and recognizable to the larger mass, and also things like implementing the Kadena names, which is an awesome infrastructure built, which makes it much simpler to be able to send funds as opposed to remembering a big, long, huge K address with a bunch of letters and numbers. You can simplify that into a simple name.kda kind of address. So kind of like in the same way that Ethereum has their addresses as well. So, it's all setting up the infrastructure underlying of the protocol and of the apps to make sure that, we're making things as easy and for people to onboard onto Kadena. So if you haven't tried it out, Koala Wallet is available for both Android and iOS, and we do have an extension wallet in the works for people who, are really stuck to using their extension wallets. We do have that fully in the works, so don't worry, that is coming very soon. But if you guys haven't tried it already, make sure you download on Android and iOS. And if you enjoy the wallet, it would be much appreciated if you could leave a positive review. It would really help us out. So yeah, I'll chime back in later on when people add more to the conversation, but I just thought I'd get this little spiel into how we're developing and what is really our ethos behind Koala Wallet.
Love the breakdown there. I do see the hand up. I'm going to come to you in a second, Evil. I just want to remind people we're about halfway through here. Now is your chance to go ahead and win some Kadena. If you're in the space, you're probably a Kadena fan. Or you can also win a Koala Cool t-shirt. All we have to do is check out the giveaway. It is pinned in the top of the space. Just go ahead and interact with that giveaway. It's up there. It's also on my timeline. I retweeted it, so it's very easy to find. You can just click into the Wolf account. It'll be the last one up there. Or, like I said, just pinned in the space. Go ahead and check them out. Go for it, Evil.
Hey, thanks, Wolf, and thanks for coming up, guys. So I have kind of a couple questions. The first one, I'm just kind of hoping you guys can maybe keep it a little tight, because I realize it is kind of a question that you could talk for a while, but I'm just kind of hoping for maybe a more concise view here. And that's this. What is the thesis for you guys doing this chain, right? Like, what's your lane? What are your key differentiators against kind of entrenched entrants? Why would I select your chain over, existing layer 2s or layer 1s, whether that's, Ethereum, Polygon, Immutable X, Flow, Wax, or even arguably potentially, some kind of Bitcoin ordinal or stacks play. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, kind of like why do this chain? What's the thesis and what's the rationale?
I'm happy to take that actually, and I will, like you said, try keep it as brief as possible. So I'll share one piece behind this, which I believe is Kadena's secret sauce, and that is Pact. Our Pact smart contract language is the only smart contract language out there that is human readable. And if you spent enough time in the Ethereum ecosystem, in any of the other ecosystems as such, you will know that there is a limited number of developers and expertise that can and do actually code using some other proprietary smart contract language. I'll just use, because everybody knows ETH and their smart contract language being Solidity. There are roughly, just to give you some statistics, there are roughly 10 to 15,000 Solidity developers out there focused on building on ETH and the ETH ecosystem. There are roughly 15 to 20 million JavaScript developers in the world. Now, of course, they're not building on Kadena yet, but there is a small subset that is. And our whole thesis, or our whole play behind this, or positioning behind this, is the same as making it simple for users to onboard and use the blockchain. We're making it simple for developers to build and develop on the blockchain. So if you look at Pact as a JavaScript-based programming language and smart contract language, we open up the doors to this mass amount of expertise out there that can actually build and develop on the blockchain. So if you take away all of the other, competitive components around whether you're decentralized, whether you're highly secure, whether you have scalability and throughput and whatnot, some of the core feature sets that you look at that people look at when evaluating a blockchain is, what can I build on there? How hard is it to build on there? How secure is it? Because that is very important. And what kind of expertise do I need? And we've actually done this test. We've had some Solidity focused developers actually try their luck. I'll use that in inverted commas, but have a go at developing on Pact. And it's about a 3 to 5 day ramp up from Solidity to Pact. And so what we're doing a better job of, and we're focused on, is getting the word out there, getting in front of the JavaScript developers, getting in front of the different ecosystems, getting in front of the different builders and devs and whatever else, and showing just how easy it is to build using Pact, and the fact that they can bring their expertise, because a lot of them can now bring Web 2 expertise, so whether it's developers or just enterprise organizations, to build on Pact. And so I'll use that as the single piece, as I think arguably the biggest differentiator for us is that it is a human readable JavaScript-based smart contract programming language.
So if that's the case, I mean, we saw with Ethereum more of kind of the open source approach, right, in terms of building out their developer plane. You could argue the same is true for kind of Ordinal's, very organic approach. Solana took the opposite approach, right, which was, a very well-funded, VC-backed effort, right, especially over a couple summers ago, right, where they were doing their, I think global tour, doing a bunch of developer houses. I guess the question here is, can you kind of dig in a little bit into your go-to-market? Like, how do you plan to address that market?
Oh, love the question. Joel, if you don't mind, I'll answer it, because I absolutely love this question.
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Please do, Ryan. You're on a roll.
So I've spent a lot of time heavily embedded in the Ethereum ecosystem, and I ran Bus Dev for an Ethereum layer 2, got heavily connected with a lot of the major partners and the different hackathons, the hacker houses, the different events and whatnot. And so I'm bringing that with me to Kadena, And it's not even having to fit a square peg into a round hole. It is a seamless fit into Kadena in that we're doing a number of things. One, we're sending the right people to the right events to speak to the right developers and the right partners. So we're attending a lot of the e-focused events, a lot of the industry-focused events, and I'm going to touch a little bit more on the reasoning for the e-focused events, and tapping into our different networks. And that could be everything from developers, like developmental type shops, add-on components in the ecosystem, Oracle's decentralized storage. We have our incredible friends over here from Koala Wallet, which we love dearly, and a lot of the additional ecosystem components that help build the bigger picture for our community. The reason why we're also focused on getting out and in front of a lot of the ETH developers and the ecosystem is, without spilling too much of the beans behind what we're building out here, is there is going to be a substantial offering when we deploy our layer 2 strategy. And the layer 2 strategy is going to help transition a lot of these developers from where they've been building to where we are today. So from EVM to Pact, but also some type of integration that will allow for seamless transactions and or compatibility between the two. I'm not saying that we are building EVM. I'm not saying that we're integrating EVM, because we are not an EVM platform, but we are building a closer knit relationship and partnership between those ecosystems.
So just to, you're not an EVM compatible chain?
We are absolutely not. We are not an EVM compatible chain. No.
Thank you. I have one last question. It's in a different direction though, so I'm going to hand it off to Shelby and maybe follow up after that.
Yeah, sure. And you're also welcome if you wanted to DM or reach out at any other later time. Happy to take these conversations offline.
Yeah, go for it, Shelby.
Hey, yeah. So I'm going to ask a question in a very different direction as well. But I just wanted to ask, are there any tools for artists with your chain? Do you think there's a place for artists on your blockchain? You know, as an artist myself, that is where my mind goes. So just wanted to see if you guys have any plans for that at all.
And before someone takes that question, I have to shout out Shelby. I mean, I don't know if you remember, we've connected at a few conferences. You've been killing it of getting out there, spreading the gospel of blockchain. I just have to say it's great to hear your name pop up and see in the space. And I'll let someone else take this question because there are updates coming that are going to definitely cater to you and the artists who Kadena really cares about.
Yeah, I'll take this one.
Much. So nice to see you again.
I'll take this one. I think simply put is creator royalties. Right now, when you're tied to platforms like OpenSea, etc., they've made it optional for the creator royalty to be paid. And with Kadena's Pact-based Marmalade standard, you can actually mint and enforce the royalty right at the mint.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
Can I add two things, if I may? One, I guess I didn't even wait for an answer. One, Shelby, Sappy Seal supporter. Love to see that. That is really cool. Big fan of what they've built out. And two is what we're doing from a Marmalade perspective as it translates to NFTs, and how that's now going to provide a really seamless model for artists to actually create their NFTs, mint their NFTs, trade their NFTs. But just as Joel mentioned, very, very important is to simplify the whole royalty process behind that.
This was also a good question, not to put you on the spot, Amir, but some of the initiatives and projects Amir's been building are right up this alley.
Yeah, and yeah, of course, this is near and dear to me. I'm here to talk about swarms and what we're doing there, but I will touch on this specifically because, as Joel knows, this is near and dear to me. I would say from an artist perspective, take the royalties, take those things out of it. Those are very important, but I think from a user experience perspective, at least what I've been focused on personally is making it easy for artists to generate their collections, to upload their collections, and really to get them to a state where you're minting, selling, auctioning, where it's all no code. It's you can drop your images into one tool, and at the end of your journey, you can have people trading your NFTs. And I don't know how to simplify that process any more than what I've said, but all the tooling is there. Just a little maybe push to the Marmalade team. Let's get that V2 version out there and start utilizing some of these things. But there's a lot of really cool tools that are getting enabled here that people probably just haven't seen yet. And I'm excited to share them with everybody. So that's been my focus. I love integrating things. So you'll find that a lot of what I'll be working on in general is integrating. And so I want to integrate artists into their work and take out all of the obscurity and really just make it easy. So that's my goal. That's my challenge. And that's what I'm working towards. And I'm happy to talk about it and offline or anytime.
Perfect.
Amazing. If you guys have any initiatives to bring artists over, I'm always happy to help with that. I have a lot of artist friends on ETH and Solana, etc. So yeah, my DMs are open, and it's good to hear all of that. Thanks for answering.
Let's take one more question from Evo, and then I have a few that I want to get in here.
Yeah, thanks. So just not to be left out, if you're lucky enough to meet Shelby in person, she's amazing. She's probably one of the coolest, nicest, most wonderful people in the space, and tremendous advocate for both artists and blockchain technology. And if you've heard me speak on spaces before, you know I don't throw out compliments really lightly. So take that for what it's worth. I'll say this. So my question for you guys is actually just to pivot a little bit to what's been going on with the SEC over the past couple of days, right? And in particular, we've seen the SEC move against Binance. That's on the backdrop of them sending the original Wells notice to Coinbase, I think a few weeks ago now, right? As part of that filing, right? They kind of split out two things. One had to do with, how CZ was, managing his business. We'll set that aside. I think it's, kind of out of scope for this. But the other part that was interesting was, where they were kind of drawing the circle around in terms of tokens being securities, right? In particular, with relevance to you guys, Sol and Matic. And then now we've seen the SEC again today, similar filing against Coinbase for running an unregistered exchange. That's a wonderful discussion to have as to whether or not that's even possible. But tucked within that is, them designating a bunch of these tokens as securities. Now, I realize that, I don't know. I guess my question for you is kind of a little bit on perspective, but more to what you guys are building specifically, right? It wasn't just that we were seeing, tokens like Sandbox or Chili's or, these ERC20s that are part of various protocols or ecosystems, but we were seeing the fundamental, layer 1 or layer 2 tokens being roped into that. And I'm kind of curious, what's your perspective? Do you have an action plan? Are you thinking about this at all? Is this an issue for you? Are you abandoning the US market? What's kind of the future view of this?
I'll take that one carefully for obvious reasons.
Yeah, whatever you can speak to. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll point to just two things that I think are important to highlight about us in regards to this conversation, and I'll avoid, any actions we may or may not be taking. But one is, if you weren't aware, one of our co-founders, Will Martino, was leading the SEC's crypto steering committee going all the way back to earlier mid-2010s. So that's something to highlight. The other thing to highlight is that we're a proof of work blockchain. I think you can kind of make your own inferences, but ultimately it is a situation we closely watch, and take all things into account and just make sure that we're making the right decisions to be all straightened out.
But to be clear, you guys do have a token, or you don't have a token.
We have a token.
Okay. And just curious, was there a pre-sale for that token, or how is that token launched?
There was, I should know this. I believe there was I don't think there was a pre-mine sale, but I'll have to double check. I don't know that off the cuff.
I think something that always reassures me with faith, and again, we're all tiptoeing here and being careful as we enter these new markets and regulations, is again, when you look at the institutional founders and the team that has really taken these steps of precaution and dancing delicately. While it's always difficult to hear someone like Joel or Ryan say, can't comment on that just yet, or might have to tiptoe around it, you have to remember that they're doing this, of course, for their sake and yours, since we all want to be building things that are lasting here in crypto and not taking part in what the SEC is kind of set up to prevent. And so again, it's about building things that last.
I mean, I guess the follow-up here to speak, can you comment on your view of sort of the U.S. market in light of these actions?
No.
Yeah, let me take the heat off of them. I'm going to say that we only have a few more minutes for the AMA, and while I'd love to share my opinion with you over DM or something like that, I'd love to hear more questions about Kadena's tech or that business development. Not trying to shut it down at all, but, for sure trying to focus,
Yeah, I think, from my perspective as well, I don't know if I want to legally discuss on MySpace either. So
I'm trying to save some people, save some fishes here.
Yeah, I do have a couple questions though that I think are important to touch on here. And there's a pretty large variety that we could go down with use cases and stuff like that. But I want to recenter a little bit to that Kadena team. And maybe you can walk me through a little bit around your approaches, because obviously we're talking business development here. So I'd love to hear a little bit about the approach to smart contracts, in what areas of blockchain you're focused on onboarding projects into your ecosystem. And then I also know the reason that I found out about Kadena was really through that grant program. And so I think that those are three interesting areas that I'd love to have touched on. And maybe Rhino, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll start with I'll tag team this with Joel because we work exceptionally closely. We're basically two peas in a pod. And so I'll start off with the grants program because we are very passionate about this. We understand how imperative or how important a grants program is to projects that are looking to build on a blockchain. And so we've actually gone through an extensive exercise of probably the last month or at least the last 3 weeks, and we continue to iterate on this. But we've refined our grants program in a manner that helps us very quickly, but very succinctly, identify key metrics behind grantees. So projects that want to build on Kadena, which we love and we want to support, which could be just a dApp, it could be a partner, it could be anybody that's building something of value or building a project of any type as such on Kadena. We want to be able to identify early on a set number of metrics to help create a recipe for success. Because we, from a grant perspective and from an internal business development perspective and our amazing team internally, we can take and support a project so far. And then a project, of course, needs to be able to stand on their own two legs and be able to, build a proper business behind it, because this is not just about being able to check a box and say, hey, I built a project and deployed it on a blockchain. So we have this incredible grants program where we go through and identify key areas for success. We look at the history of the founders. We understand and help the project identify product market fit behind this, and a number of other key aspects that help us then support the project and identify a grant that is suitable to help them grow, build, and develop on the blockchain. And we're looking at some really interesting new initiatives that we're going to be doing around the grants program, more to come. But I will just share that one of those components that we're quite excited about is we're going to be introducing an incentivization type grant, where for certain milestones, certain metrics, certain goals, there'll be a different type or a different style of grant that is an add-on to help incentivize these builders to reach those milestones, to kick those goals, and to mutually be successful. I'll hand over to Joel to add, and then answer the other.
No, you nailed it. I got nothing to add there.
Yeah. Okay. So do you, if you wanted to walk around further on any of those areas that you really focused on onboarding, or as well any deeper into the grants, that'd be perfect. But if you don't want to go too much farther on that, I did have another area which is kind of a little bit more broad, And I'm curious just kind of what the future looks like for Kadena, specifically right now, any big partnerships, projects, add-ons that people should be excited about and watching for.
An area that I'm excited about personally is onboarding some Web2 enterprise partnerships and entering that space. I'll be at TOA in Berlin in about a month. If anyone's there, please hit me up. But, in light of the ease of onboarding JavaScript developers to Pact, that's an area we're going to be focused on. And I think we're already having some substantial conversations with some, names that I can't mention, but that's an area that, excites me a lot.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that there's some more pieces coming on. To some of the others, like Amir, who's been in here. Amir, anything that you're excited about that's upcoming?
I'm really excited, me personally, about showing people, integrations, different integrations from DAOs with Swarms to Marmalade. Obviously, I'm very, very near and dear to me, and how we can work with everybody across the ecosystem to bring in, trust and verification into a DAO that can kind of be a substantial play for companies and for avoiding rug pulls and things like that. So I think all of those things, I'm excited to get the opportunity to work on all these things and see how they kind of blossom in the future. I would love to say there's a few cool little AI tools that are going to be available here with Marmalade V2 as well. That will also hopefully get integrated into the DAO. Nothing fancy, but a little bit of fun for people to have. So I'm excited for all those things to get released.
That is exciting. I'm looking forward to more of them coming along. Mary Beth, did you have any thoughts or questions you want to throw into the mix here?
My original questions were more about the grant program, so thank you for touching on that. I just was wondering if you had any statements for the Kadena team on the private blockchain avenue of your business. Is that still a thing?
Yeah, and I'll let Ryan speak to this if you'd like to, but the privacy area we're focused on right now is bringing ZK and a privacy layer to our L2s, which the engineer team's hard at work on. That should be coming down the pipe probably Q4, I would say, this year. Don't quote me on that, but would like to see that and excited to see that later this year.
And I think, sorry, Mary Beth, I'm assuming the question is also more around Kadena as a private blockchain compared to a public blockchain. Is that correct?
Thank you so much. Yes.
No, that's okay. I understood. But it does, that's all we talk about in blockchain, privacy or private and public. So I get it. It gets a little confusing at times. Our focus is purely on Chainweb, which is our public blockchain. It is actually made up right now of 20 separate chains, all meshed together to provide a really highly performant blockchain. But it is only offered as a public blockchain.
Thank you for clarifying that. That's really helpful. I was just curious to if a Kadena or whatever else is out there, has been working toward addressing anything that has to do with the health industry in terms of medical records and things like that. Something I always like researching on, but just curious to that. Thank you.
It's a really good use case for Pact and for Kadena, and I can't say too much, but I can say that we're actively speaking to a number of groups in the healthcare space.
Cool to know. Thank you.
Yeah, just to add, the talking healthcare and blockchain is almost as much of a minefield as talking blockchain and SEC. It is so difficult when it comes to people's privacy records, HIPAA compliance here in the US, etc. But exactly as Joel said, we are in conversations with numerous organizations about this because it is a fantastic use case for the blockchain.
What are the biggest challenges right now to expansion?
Are you talking about for blockchain as a whole, Web3?
Yeah.
The biggest challenges for expansion? I would say there's one thing that we are focused on heavily right now, which is getting more awareness, more education, more brand awareness out there. it's if you go sit in front of the Ethereum ecosystem or any of the other ecosystems, there's a big community, big ecosystem, all developing in a closed environment. And we are starting to make waves and a lot more, taking a far greater approach to providing more exposure and brand awareness to Kadena as a whole. I think that's an important aspect for us. And it comes down to what I said in the very beginning and what Joel iterated on as well, which is getting packed in front of more developers, getting packed in front of more projects, and getting people to understand how easy it actually is to develop on Pact.
Good insights to have. Okay, 5 minutes left. So last time I'm going to put it out there. If you haven't already participated in the giveaway, it is going to get given away soon. So that is the Koala Cool t-shirt as well as 50 KDA. Giveaways pinned in the top of the space. All you got to do is retweet it. Right now I see 33 retweets. So you're looking very good for your entry. If you haven't already done it, if you want to get in before that gets picked, just go. It's at the top of the space. And then in addition with that, it's also commented on it's also retweeted on my timeline. So very easy to find. And of course, you can follow all the accounts that are up here, like the Kadena IO account and the ecosystem, the wallet. There's a bunch of really good ones to check out throughout here. One more time, I think you kind of talked on it a little bit earlier, but Joel, maybe you want to touch on, a lot of people are very familiar with ETH, Bitcoin, and others. What's the big draw that you typically see why people move over to a Kadena-based blockchain?
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it really is packed. We see an extremely low attrition rate from developers coming over and building in Pact. It really excites them. And I think the other thing too is just planning for the long term. We always say bear markets are for building, and I can't remember who it was. Someone asked a question earlier about the thesis, and Ryan had a really good answer. The one thing I would add to that though is it's important to remember that we're one of the only layer ones that can actually scale. And a lot of the layer twos in the Ethereum ecosystem exist to help with that problem. Whereas for us, layer twos is to bring, speed and privacy, but it's important to remember our layer one can actually scale. And long term, as we hope to see mass adoption, that's actually going to be important.
Got it. That does make sense. So let's move around. Let's do some wrap ups here because we got about 3 minutes. Rhino, anything else that you think is important for people to really have on their radar?
I would say not necessarily important to have on the radar, but I would say certainly watch the space. We are focusing very heavily on building our partnerships and our ecosystem, and we have some incredible initiatives to attract the devs to building on Kadena. So I would say just watch the space.
I'll also add to that saying that one of the best ways I find to keep up with Kadena is every Wednesday, almost every Wednesday, they host what is called the Campfire on their YouTube page, where they have members of the Kadena team come and answer questions directly from the community. So that is an excellent way to keep up to date with what the Kadena team is working on, and also a chance for you to get your voices heard and get your questions out there. So I'd say that was probably one of the best ways, besides following the accounts and joining their Discord.
Love it. Any other final comments from yourself, Joel? Anything else you want to put in front of people?
No, just I think Ryan said it well. Just keep an eye on it. There's a lot of excitement coming forth. Obviously, that hasn't been the case in the last 24 hours in the market, but I arrived at Kadena 16 months ago as just a community member and a retail investor, and I've never been more bullish on Kadena than today, and that continues to grow and foster for me. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, definitely a pleasure having you on here with us. I know that we did end up losing Kobe. I think he had to drop off. Amir, did you have any other final comments, thoughts, anything else that you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Come check out Swarms. That's why I jumped on here. I'd really like to see and hear feedback from others to see how we can integrate into your project. And really, we'll take a lot of that burden on ourselves. So don't be shy. Come visit us in Discord. Happy to have that conversation. Happy to talk about NFTs anytime. Reach out.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm not sure if we're doing the picking right now inside of here in the space. I'm kind of chatting with Michelle a little bit about that. Do you know Koala Wallet?
We are running it until Friday just to give people a chance to enter, get some more people in there. So make sure you guys go and do all the things on the tweet, follow the accounts, like it, retweet, comment some free friends, spread it around. And if you do like the t-shirt that we're giving away, we have lots of other really cool swag available at swag.koalawallet.io. So you can go and check that out. We also have some Kadena theme merch as well, and we'll be adding to the store very shortly. But I'd like to also thank you guys for hosting and joining, and make sure if you haven't already, go try koalawallet.io. Download it for both Android and iOS. We have full in-app swaps with KD Swap natively built in, which we just got finally into all of the different apps on both stores. Full NFT support, full wallet connect, and lots of really cool stuff in the future. So once again, thanks for everyone for joining us, and Wolf for hosting. These spaces are always amazing.
Always a pleasure chatting with the Kadena team. Big fan of what y'all are building. Shout out to Joel and Rhino for helping us lead this conversation. Thank you to Mary Beth, Eva, Lucas, Shelby, Amir, Koala Wallet, and the Kadena account, as well as Kobe and others that were up here. Appreciate you all being on. I got to go and open another space from a different account, so I'm going to close this one out. But thank you to everybody that participated today. I'm looking forward to our next space with the Kadena team.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Take care, everyone. That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at KPN, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on each project before investing. Also ensure to follow us on all our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter, to ensure to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.